It's amazing what they're doing with machine learning these days, like tackling some really complex problems, even at the bottom of oil wells.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
I know we're actually going to look at how AI can predict pressure during this procedure called nitrogen lifting, all based on this 2024 research paper from the Society of Petroleum Engineers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're talking cutting edge stuff here. But first, like, what even is nitrogen lifting?
So it's basically like a deep clean for the well, after work has been done on it,
Okay.
using nitrogen to clear out debris and fluids and stuff like that.
Gotcha. So like a well spa treatment.
Haha, kind of.
But to do that safely, you'd need to know the pressure down there, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Traditionally, they use downhole gauges, but those can be really expensive and sometimes they're not even available. Plus, the flow inside an oil well is super complicated. There's oil, gas, water, A&D, nitrogen all mixed together. That makes calculating pressure changes really, really
So
tough.
that's where the AI comes in. This paper is exploring whether AI can predict those pressures faster, cheaper, A&E, better than traditional methods.
Makes sense.
And get this, they used data from 235 wells in the western desert of Egypt. It's crazy.
Wow.
I know. They recorded everything. Temperatures at the top and bottom of the well, oil density, water salinity, how much oil and gas are being produced, even the nitrogen injection rate.
Plus, they even had pressure readings from special gauges at the bottom of the well so they could check how accurate the AI's predictions were. Really important.
Okay, so tons of data. But how do they even make it useful for the AI?
Right. So data preparation is super important. They had to clean it, organize it, make sure everything's in the right place. They had to check for errors, fill in any missing info. And then there's this thing called normalization.
Normalization.
Yeah. So think about it like this. You're comparing the heights of a skyscraper and a house. The difference is huge,
Right.
right? Normalization is like scaling those heights down so they both fit on the same piece of paper, making it easier to see the difference. They did that for the AI so it could understand the relationships between all those well
Well,
parameters.
I get it. Like leveling the playing field for the AI,
Right.
making it fair.
Exactly.
So then they just fed all that clean data into the AI and see what happened.
Well, not quite. They split the data into two parts. 80% of it was used to train the AI, teach it about all these parameters and how they relate to pressure at the
This
bottom.
makes sense. So what about the other 20%?
That was the test. They kept it secret to see how well the AI could predict pressures in situations it had never seen before. The true test.
Clever. So the AI is trained, it's tested, but hold on, they didn't just use one AI model, did they?
Nope. They tested 9 different machine learning models, each with its own way of learning.
Whoa, 9. Okay, so how do you even compare them? Like who did the best?
Right. Well, they looked at a few things. Some have complicated names like MSE, RMSE. But basically, the smaller the number, the closer the AI's prediction was to the actual pressure.
So lower is better, like golf.
Uh-huh, exactly.
What else did they look at?
They also use something called R squared, which tells you how well the model captured, the overall patterns in the data. A perfect score is 1, and the closer the AI gets, the better it understands how those well parameters influence pressure.
Okay, so who was the champion predictor?
The winner was gradient boosting. Lowest error scores A and D, an R squared of 0.985.
Whoa, that's almost
I
perfect.
know.
What about the others? Any close seconds?
Random forest and ADA boost did really well too, but gradient boosting was definitely the MVP.
So was it just luck? Or is gradient boosting particularly good at this kind of problem?
Well, gradient boosting is known for being good at, handling these complex data sets with tons of variables, and that's what we have here with all these well parameters.
Okay, so not just a fluke then. But still, how do we know for sure that gradient boosting wasn't just lucky with the data?
That's a great question. They actually used some special techniques to make sure the results were reliable. K-fold, cross-validation, repeated random sampling. Basically, making sure the AI's accuracy wasn't a fluke, it would do just as well with new data.
So they double-check their work.
Yep,
But how does all of this translate to the real world? Did they test this on an actual well?
they did. They put their gradient boosting model to the test on a real well in the Western Desert, called it Well X, and the results were incredible.
Okay, drum roll, please. What happened?
The model predicted a bottom hole pressure of 3,090 psi.
All right. And what was the actual pressure?
The actual pressure was only 49 psi higher. That means the AI was 98.3% accurate.
No way. That's incredible.
I know.
So what does this mean for the people who actually work on these wells?
Imagine being able to know the pressure thousands of feet below in real time with that accuracy. It could make nitrogen lifting faster, cheaper, and more efficient.
This is huge. Hold on, I have so many more questions. But we've only just scratched the surface of this research. We'll be back in a moment to dive even deeper into the possibilities of AI in the world of oil and gas.
It's really remarkable to think about, AI being able to predict pressure so accurately at the bottom of an oil well.
Yeah, it really is.
It opens up so many possibilities, right? Like we've been talking about nitrogen lifting, but it seems like this technology could have way wider applications.
Absolutely. This research is just the beginning, just a glimpse of what might be possible with AI in the future.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Okay, well, think about all the data collected from oil wells. It's massive amounts, way more than humans can handle.
Yeah, it'd be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, right?
Exactly. But that's where AI shines. It can sift through all that data, find those hidden patterns and insights that we would just never see on our own.
So it's like having an AI geologist constantly analyzing the Earth. Yeah, kind of. And it goes way beyond just finding oil and gas. AI could help us manage those resources much more efficiently, sustainably too, which is super important with climate change and everything.
I was just thinking about that. So, like using AI to minimize environmental impact or even to, reduce emissions from oil and gas production.
Yeah, exactly. There are so many ways AI could make the energy industry more environmentally responsible, and it all comes down to understanding the data.
Okay, but getting that data, isn't that a challenge in itself? Like, oil wells are harsh environments.
You're right, they can be brutal. Extreme temperatures, pressures, corrosive fluids, it's tough to get reliable data from those conditions.
It's like sending a probe to another planet or something.
Yeah, kind of. The equipment has to be super robust to survive down there. And then once you have the data, managing it is another whole challenge. We need powerful systems to store and process it all.
Right, because we're talking about tons of data coming in from multiple wells.
Yeah, that's where cloud computing comes in, and also this thing called edge computing.
Edge computing, what's that?
So it's basically about processing the data right there at the well site instead of sending it all back to a central location. It's super efficient.
Like a mini data center right next to the oil well.
Exactly. It allows for real-time analysis and decision-making, which can be a game changer.
It really sounds like we're on the verge of a data revolution in the energy industry.
I think so, yeah.
But we have to be careful with this technology, right? Make sure it's used responsibly.
Of course, that's super important. For example, we need to avoid biases in the AI models, make sure they're trained on diverse data so they're not just perpetuating existing inequalities.
Yeah, fairness is key. We want AI to benefit everyone, not just a select few.
Right. It's about using this technology ethically to create a better future for everyone.
I like that. So with all this in mind, where do you see AI making the biggest impact in the near future?
Well, we already talked about predictive maintenance. Imagine being able to anticipate equipment failures before they happen, saving tons of money and preventing accidents.
That would be amazing. I can see how that would be super valuable across all sorts of industries, not just oil and gas.
Absolutely. And then there's optimizing production, getting the most out of every well. AI can analyze all the data and suggest ways to, tweak settings and improve efficiency.
So like an AI well manager.
Exactly. Constantly making small adjustments to maximize output. And we can't forget about the environmental side of things.
Right, using AI to reduce the impact of oil and gas operations.
Yeah, like optimizing drilling paths to minimize disturbance to ecosystems or monitoring emissions and leaks. It's about using AI to make the industry more sustainable in the long run.
This is all so fascinating, but I have to ask, with all this talk about AI and automation, are we going to see job losses in the energy industry?
That's a question a lot of people have, and while some jobs might change, I don't think AI will replace them entirely.
So it's more about, augmentation than replacement.
Exactly. AI can handle those routine tasks, freeing up humans for more complex roles that require creativity and critical thinking.
Like problem solving, strategy, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's about working with AI, not against it. And it requires us to adapt and learn new skills so we can thrive in this new era.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I feel like we've only scratched the surface of this whole topic.
Me too. There's so much more to explore.
I know. But let's take a quick break here, and when we come back, we'll wrap up this deep dive with some key takeaways and some resources for you to check out if you want to learn more. Welcome back. It's been pretty mind-blowing to think about all the ways AI could change the energy industry. We've covered a lot.
Yeah, it really is amazing. And it's all happening so fast, too.
I know. It feels like every day there's some new breakthrough. And it's not just the technology itself, it's the people behind it all.
Right. Like the researchers, the engineers, the people actually working on the oil wells. It's a whole team effort.
Totally. But, one thing that comes up a lot with AI is the impact on jobs.
Yeah, that's a big concern for people.
It is. And I think it's important to talk about it. Like, is AI going to replace all the jobs in the energy sector?
That's a tough question. I mean, AI will definitely change things. Some jobs might disappear, but I think a lot of them will just, evolve.
Evolve.
Yeah. AI can handle those tasks that are repetitive or dangerous, freeing up people to focus on more, high-level stuff.
So using AI as a tool, not a replacement.
Exactly. And that means we need to adapt, learn new skills, be ready to work alongside AI.
Makes sense. It's
Yeah.
all about being flexible and embracing those changes, right?
Definitely. I think it's an exciting time to be working in this field. There are so many opportunities for people who are willing to learn and adapt.
Well, this has been such an insightful deep dive into the world of AI and oil wells. I feel like I've learned so much.
Me too. It's incredible to see how this technology is transforming the energy industry.
I know. And for our listeners who want to explore this topic further, what are your recommendations?
Well, first off, I highly recommend checking out the research paper we've been discussing.
Oh, yeah. What was it called again?
Machine learning models to predict pressure at a coiled tubing nozzle's outlet during nitrogen lifting.
A bit of a mouthful, but very descriptive.
Right. It's by Thabet, El Hadi, and Gabri. You can find it on the Society of Petroleum Engineers website. It's got all the technical details.
Perfect. And what about resources for those who want to learn more about AI in general?
Oh, there are tons of great resources out there. Just a quick search online will turn up articles, videos, podcasts, even courses.
And don't forget about social media, right?
Absolutely. There are so many great discussions happening online. It's a great way to stay up to date on the latest developments.
So true. All right. As we wrap up, any final thoughts for our listeners?
Well, I think we've just scratched the surface of what's possible with AI in the energy sector.
Yeah, we have.
The next few years are going to be really exciting as we see these technologies really take off and transform the way we produce and manage energy.
I'm excited to see what the future holds. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And to all our listeners out there, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep questioning.